Teen Challenge is a 12-month Christian discipleship program for men and women who struggle with life-controlling addiction. And a lot of people refer to it as a rehab, but it's not a rehab. It's a place where you come to meet Jesus. And because we believe that that is the answer, that is the solution to all life problems is Jesus. So I'm going to give you my testimony first. I'm 35 years old. I'm from Mobile, Alabama. I was a third-generation drug user. My mom and my grandfather used drugs. So when I was growing up, I did what seemed right. That's what the people before me did, so that's what I did. So I started using drugs at a young age, and as I got older, I just progressed to harder drugs and worse drugs. And then I started doing the things that came with it. I started stealing, lying, just going down the wrong road. So I was in my 20s when my mom passed away, and that was kind of like the breaking point for me. I went off into a real pit of despair, and I didn't know what to do. Ended up going to prison shortly after that. Got out of prison, started making the same decisions again. And when I first started using drugs, I still had hope in myself, I guess. And then when I got out of prison this last time and started doing the same things, it got to the point where I didn't have hope in anything. I had lost hope completely. And so I had gotten arrested, and while I was in jail, I was tired. I was tired of doing the same things over and over again. I was tired of making the same decisions. And so I asked to go to rehab. What I got was Teen Challenge. So when I got to Teen Challenge, like I said, I was broken. And like I said, I came there to get off drugs. But when I got there, I realized that the drugs weren't the problem. It was Jesus that I was missing in my life. So a couple months after I was in the program, I gave my life to God. And that was September 3rd of 2024. And everything since then has just been, I'm not going to say it's been perfect, but the blessings that he has given me have just been amazing. He's restored my relationships with my family. When I got to a point where, I started worrying about what I was going to do next, where I was going to go, when I finally gave that to him, he opened a door for me to stay on at Teen Challenge. I actually manage a screen printing shop there, and I'm a life coach. And who would have thought somebody that had no control over their life would end up being in a position to try to help somebody else gain control of theirs. But that's the kind of God I serve. He can do anything. So that's just a little bit about my testimony. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Montre. Thank you.
How y'all doing? My name is Montre Roberts. I'm from Mobile, Alabama. I'm 40 years old. Teen Challenge. I know y'all probably know people who struggle with addiction, in addiction, have friends who have children in addiction. It's everywhere, and it's a mess. But it's all kind of addiction, because sin is an addiction. I was addicted to drugs. I was addicted to sin. When I was 15 years old, I lost my brother. And it turned my life around. I stopped wanting to go to school. I just, I was mad at God. And it caused me to go down the wrong path. I started using drugs, selling drugs, and just doing what I seen my older cousin them do. And it got bad to where it landed me in prison. I fell in love with money. Money was my God. I worshiped money for 25 years of my life. For 25 years of my life, money was my God. I did just about anything to get it. I didn't care who I hurt. I didn't care who I affected. And since being a Teen Challenge, God showing me that hurt and broken people, they hurt and break people. Only way you can stop these things from happening in your life is when you're so broken and you're so tired, you're going to have to find something to replace that vow in your heart, and that's Christ. When I finally got the Teen Challenge, because I can rumble all day about how Satan destroyed my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll be here next month. I can tell you, I've been in and out of prison. I've been shot. You know, I didn't know what I'm saying. I done been through it. But God had his hand on me. And it's certain things he wouldn't allow Satan to take my life. And I praise him and I thank him for that. Because I have so many friends and peers that lost their life. You know, but when you give your life to God, because I was broke, I was tired of going in and out of prison. I have 4 children, I got 4 daughters. But God just, you know, God, I need help. And I went to Steph there, like, hey man, I know who God is, because I had an auntie, she took me to church faithfully when I was young, every Sunday. You know, and I used to go, when I used to be running the streets, I'd go to her house, because she cooked good, like, y'all can tell I like to eat, you know. So my auntie, this is my favorite auntie, she passed away from cancer. But she used to always tell me, she'd come in, she's like, come on, I know what you want. She'd go fix me a plate, you know what I'm saying? If she wasn't cooking, she'd come in there, I'd sit there with her, she'd cook me some food. If it was morning time, she'd cook me breakfast. Dinner time, she'd cook me some dinner. And she'll talk to me. She said, when you get tired, baby, you know where to go to. Because you just seen God do miracles. You know, I had a cousin who was shot, paralyzed. Doctor told me he'll never walk again. And I saw that man walk again. I seen the doctor tell my auntie the same one I'm telling y'all about this. You got 6 months to live. And I saw her live for years. I seen my mama just beat cancer. So I know what my living, breathing God can do. So I was to the point to where I had to try everything that I can do, and I seen like, man, I can't do it. I said, man, I'm gonna give my life to God. This is what I gotta do. This is what he want me to do. Cause he's showing me he got me a teen challenge. He giving me chance after chance, you know. I just had got out of jail for trafficking charges, you know. And my brother's still in prison. I have a nephew in prison. I've led a lot of people down the wrong road. A lot of people followed me down that road of destruction. So I prayed, and God, he sent me the teen challenge. I got the teen challenge. Teen challenge, it's tough. It's tough. You know what I'm saying? It's tough because teen challenge will make you, when you come to God, and you give your life to, and May the 2nd of last year, I gave my life to Christ because my life was a mess and it was nothing I could do. I was just tired of hurting people, just everything I touched, it failed. Satan will make it look good for me for a minute, but then he'll take it all away. I get all the money I want, have to go to prison, have to lose, have to do it all over again. I was tired. So I gave my life to Christ. But when you give your life to Christ and you sincere about it, he can't change the circumstances. He can't change nothing you're going through. But he going to give you a new heart. And he going to go through this stuff with you. A lot of us don't want to go through hard times. The disciples, a lot of people, when they was following Jesus, when everybody was crowds and stuff, everybody loved it that part, but when he was getting beat and whooped and mocked and spit on, the one who said, I'm going to stand there with you to the bloody end, Jesus said, man, I don't know that man. I do not know that man. But when we got Jesus, I learned we can go through and face anything. I just went through something while I was at Teen Challenge, because I had been in Teen Challenge 6-7 months. I thought, hey, I got it all together. I can go home. I can go back to Mobile. I can go back to where I'm from. I got this. And God showed me, man, you ain't got nothing, man. You still ain't realized you ain't got it. If you ain't got me, you ain't nothing. We can do all things through Christ who strengthens us, but ourselves, man, we can't do nothing, man. And I'm learning this. But because when God come in, he changed your heart posture. You know what I'm saying? He gonna change your heart. He tell you that. I'm gonna take that heart of stone you got, I'm gonna give you a heart of my heart. I'm gonna give you a heart of love. I'm gonna give you a heart where you have joy. When the world can be in chaos, it can be bombing going on, you gonna have peace because I'm gonna abide in you. When you read that word, that's what gives you your strength. That's what gives you your confidence in God. That's how you get confidence in God, reading that word daily, and that's what I do. I meditate on God's word, and I meditate on his promises, what he promised me, because he got promises in that Bible. If you do what I tell you to do, I will give you the desires of your heart. See, the world can't do that. Satan ain't gonna give you the desires of your heart. He gonna give you everything. He gives you an illusion. It look good for a moment. He gonna give you a wedding ring, But I promise, it ain't even gold plated. It's food gold, baby. You know what I'm saying? But when God give you something, it's pure. It's refined. When he change you, he gonna make you pure. He gonna refine you. And he'll have you to the point to where once you read that word, you won't want to do certain things no more. Because the love that God has for us is so strong. It is so strong that we can't even imagine. But when we learn to do what when we learn to obey him and do what he tells us, he gives us that love. And we have to make sure we get that love to other people. We can't hold God love, you can't even hold it to yourself. You have to get it to somebody else. It's gonna show in you. It's gonna show in the way you walk, talk, the way you do. Because love is not a word. I can tell you all day I love you, and soon as you leave, I steal out your purse. I can tell you I love you stuff, but love is an action. Love is helping people when you really can't help yourself. Love is going out your way. In your bed, sleep, I get up and take you, go get your man. Love is helping. Doing things for others and doing things to others that's you putting others above yourself. It's not about you anymore, it's about others. God loved us so much that he sent his son down here to die for us. So that means if he sent his son to die for us and how we live and what we do, man, we can love anybody. Because love is a choice. It's a choice. And that's the type of stuff I'm learning in Teen Challenge. Because I'm dealing with some people that sometimes they might get on my nerve. But I have to love them no matter what. I still have to tell them, hey, you're doing this wrong. I still have to be patient with them because I was there one day. You know, I got on my mama nerve. I got on my daddy nerve. Calling from jails. Because everything you do, it affects somebody. Everything you do, it affects somebody. It affects people who love you. So I'm learning that, you know what I'm saying? You got to be patient with people. You know, because God was patient with me. He waited 40 years. It took me 40 years to get it together. And I still ain't all the way there. But I'm on the right path. And as long as I stay on that path, it can't do nothing but get better and better. I'm going to get to experience more and more and more of Jesus. The longer I walk with him, the more of him I experience, the better our relationship is going to get. And I just thank God for a place like Teen Challenge, because if you got a person out there that's in addiction or anything, don't give up hope on them, because there's hope for them. If God can change my heart, it can be done to anybody. It can be done for anybody. Don't give up hope on them. Now, I ain't telling you when they call and they tell you, hey, I'm in jail, send me some money. Tell them, hey, man, read your Bible, you know. When you go tell the folks to see and get some help. You know, sometimes you got to give people tough love so they can experience real love. You know what I'm saying? Some tough love sometimes help you experience real love. Because God give us tough love sometimes. He just showed me tough love when I made a certain decision. He showed me tough love. He showed me, hey, you see how you feel right now? Your relationships that you got here at this place, they fading away. Your joy gone, your peace gone. But you know, because you know why? Because you disobeying me. But when you walk with me, you see how good it felt. You see how you felt. I changed your life. So you want to go back to that life or you want this life? Which one you want? I'm going to choose this life. Because this life is the best life. I don't need no substance to make me feel good. I don't need no woman, no man to tell me I love you, because I know he loves me. You know? And I got people that I know going to be there for me and held me accountable for certain things. And that's what Teen Challenge is about. It's about helping. I've been at Teen Challenge 11 months. It's about helping the next person who come through that door broken and beat down, feeling like they ain't got nobody who care for them or love them. It's a job for a person who's been there to take that person. Hey, brother, get up. Come on, let's go. I love you. God loves you. And this is what you do. You get a relationship with God, everything fall in place. Because love, and when you get your confidence in God, He's going to kill all the shame. He's going to kill all the guilt, because He's going to give you a new heart. He done took that old heart away. And when you do the wrong thing, your heart, that new heart, going to let you know, like, hey, I'm supposed to be doing this. See, my old heart, when I did something, it ain't even bother me. But this new heart, man, you know you aren't supposed to be doing that. You'll go back and apologize to the person for the smallest thing. Well, I'm sorry for talking like that, because that's the love of God inside of you. When you got the love of God, of Christ living inside of you, you can't treat nobody wrong, because God is love. And that's what we teach. We teach love. We teach brothers how to work ethics. Because some people don't have work ethics, you know. But Teen Challenge, it helped people, you know. It helped me. It helped me, a man from Mobile, Alabama, caught up in drug addiction, drugs, selling all my life. Teen Challenge helped me. It got me where I need to be. It got me to the man I need to meet. It got me to Jesus Christ, and I thank y'all for letting me share.
How everybody doing this morning? I'm not gonna lie, on the way up here, I thought we wasn't gonna make it back out. Y'all out here in the woods. Then I see y'all had Mr. Jackson buried right there at the front door. I'm like, where I'm at? I'm just playing. So my name Levi, y'all. I've been at Teen Challenge for a couple months now, and I've been out of prison for 83 days now. I just got done serving a 3-year sentence at Limestone, and I'm gonna speak a little bit about my testimony, but I just want to tell y'all about a story that happened to me while I was in prison, because we went to an event yesterday talking about fentanyl overdoses. This woman had lost her daughter, and I'm actually an overdose survivor, and I want to speak a little bit on that because it's crazy how God will work in your life, and also how the devil will try to keep you from your blessings. So I was in the county jail waiting to get sentenced to prison, and you see me now, I'm changed, but back then I was crazy. Didn't really care about anything. And there was a dude that worked the hall. He never said anything to me. I just didn't like the way he looked. So I used to always argue with him, pick on him, yell at him through the door, and just had a hate for him that I didn't know why. So we ended up, me and him going to prison on the same day. So we really weren't talking or anything like that. And so I struggled with addiction. I've been struggling with addiction since I was 10. So whenever I got to prison, I'm like, okay, well now it's time to get high. So I went and I was trying to do one drug, and I ended up doing fentanyl, and I overdosed. And so I ended up being put on a diaper, a catheter, all that in the Free Royal Hospital. It was pretty serious. It was hard for me to move for about 13 hours. And when I had woke up, I woke up in the hospital. Didn't know how long I had been out. Didn't know, what had happened for real. So when they finally sent me back to prison, they were telling me, man, you was overdosed on your rack for the rack. When I say the rack, I'm talking about my bed for 45 minutes straight. You were just turning colors, and man, nobody wanted to help you except for that one light skinned dude. And for about a day, I didn't know who they were talking about. Came to find out it was that same dude that I used to argue with and yell at and call names and stuff that had really saved my life, because he had given me a sternum rub for 45 minutes, and that was probably the only thing that saved me, for real. So I just want to say that because, I just felt like the Lord laid that on my heart to tell y'all, because the devil will try to keep you from somebody, especially whenever the devil knows that the Lord going to put somebody in your life to help you, he'll try to keep you from it. So I just got out of prison. I was arrested for, originally had 2 counts of attempted murder, and assault second, and I was involved in a high-speed chase, and I ended up hitting 2 police officers with my vehicle. And I was running from my problems, just say not metaphorically, but I was, just trying to get away and didn't intend on hurting anybody. But the court really didn't see it that way. So my first offer was 25 years. And I sat in jail probably about 10 months with that 25 years, hanging over my head, just thinking, man, my life is over with, So finally, one day they came, because I told they said 25 years, and I'm like, that was an offer, of course I didn't take it, So they were like, they came back like a couple weeks before I wanted to go to trial, and they're like, man, we'll give you this deal for 3 years and a 15 split, so if I mess up, I gotta go back up 15 years. So I took the deal. God was gracious. But it was in that prison sentence whenever the Lord started working in my life. Now, I had went to church when I was young. I only went because my mom said I had to. It really wasn't something that I wanted to do. It wasn't really something that I had a desire to do. It was just something that the family did. And so I grew up in prison. That was my 4th time going. Actually, I went to prison my first time when I was 18, and I've probably been out about 9 months since I was 18. And so that was what I was used to. That's what my life, that's what I was surrounded around, addiction, drugs, and things like that. So I had 5 siblings growing up. And I started messing up at a young age. Like I said, my addiction started when I was 10. So I went to juvenile prison, 3 times as a teenager. And I had this on one time and got all my family split apart. My mom lost custody of all the kids. And so that really put a rift between me, her, and all them. Some of my siblings don't even talk to me anymore. And so it was while I was in prison serving these 3 years that the Lord had started softening my heart. I was still getting high, I was still doing things, but like it was what I had did to them that really started changing my outlook and started changing my maturity, because I was able to accept my responsibility for my actions and the hurt I caused them. So the feelings had got to be so immense that I started crying, and so at Lions they got cells. So I was in my cell crying one day, I was on the ground crying, and my cellmate, he was like, man, what you got going on, man? He was like, man, how can I help you? And I told him about everything that I did, while I was crying. He was like, man, I don't know how I can help you, but maybe you need to read this. And he pulled a Bible out of his box. Now I'll never forget it. It was crazy because, he wasn't a Bible-going person. He was actually a gang affiliate, and it was crazy, so I started reading the Bible. And as I was reading, the story of Paul really stuck out to me, because I did what I wanted to do all my life. I did what I felt was right, and I didn't persecute Christians. But, as I kind of shied away from them, because I'm like, man, I can't relate to any of y'all, I didn't like any of it. So I just got to reading Paul, man. It really helped me through my walk. So times in prison had got worse. Even though I was reading the Bible, I was still in addiction. To tell the truth, I was reading the word and smoking the word at the same time. I was getting it how I could, I guess you could say. And so there's an honor dorm in prison that you can go to, and they also got like a faith dorm in prison that you can go to. So as I was reading the word, he started changing my outlook on things. The people that I was hanging around, I didn't want to be around them no more, and things like that. So I signed up to go to this honor dorm. Well, there's a process to get into this honor dorm. You got to be interviewed. The warden has to accept you. You can't have no disciplinaries and things like that. And I didn't really meet any of that criteria, but I still signed up. Just hoping that I could get in there because I wanted to get away from, what I felt like wasn't me anymore. I wanted to change my life, and. So one day, before I even had my interview, they moved me out the blue. They moved me into the dorm. No interview, no warden's approval. They didn't check my disciplinaries or anything. So that was the act of God getting me in there. It was in that dorm whenever I had decided to give my life to Christ. I had been reading the word, and I knew I needed to make the change. So we went to chapel one night, and I remember it just like the back of my hand today. It was when I sat there and I prayed that sinner's prayer, in tears. I knew that the Lord had changed my heart. And I dedicated my life to him that day. That was February 25th of last year. So I've been a Christian for a little bit over a year now. And my life, man, I've seen so many things change in my life since then. I didn't really speak to my mama in prison. We might have spoke every 3 or 4 months, for 15 minutes. That was just how we were. And it's crazy how it worked, because whenever I decided to give my life to Christ, she started answering every weekend. She didn't miss a phone call. She heard in my voice that I was changed. She could hear the sobriety in me, and it was just crazy. So I still had about 9 months left in prison whenever I had decided to give my life to Christ. And, I was just taking it day by day. I didn't know where I was going to go when I got out of prison. I haven't lived with my mama since I was 16. And didn't have any plans to go anywhere. Just wanted to get out of prison, But people would always ask me, where are you going? And I'm like, man, I don't know, I know whenever it's time to go. So I was talking to this one brother one day, and he was just telling me about what he was doing before he was in prison. And he said he was at this place called Teen Challenge. He was like, yeah, man, it's real strict. It's 12 months. They read the Bible every day. It's a discipleship program. But if you get in trouble, you'll wash dishes. You got to write verses and stuff like that. And, and it's crazy because at the point where I was at, I'm like, man, that sounds like something I want to do. Oh, I'm finna have to write 100 verses for cussing. Let's run it. So I still had no contact with the free world, so I didn't know how I was going to get there. I prayed every day and every night for Teen Challenge. I'm like, Lord, if it's your will to send me there, Lord, just please get me there. So 6 months went by, with me praying like that. And I ran to another fella, and he was like, "Man, Levi, I heard you finna get out, man. What are you gonna do?" And I was like, "Well, I heard about this place called Teen Challenge. You know, I've been praying to go there." You know, he was like, "What?" He's like, "Man, I'm a graduate of that place. I can put you on the phone with somebody right now." You know, so it was just crazy because before I didn't know how I was gonna get there, and the Lord sent somebody to me like that. You know, so they accepted me. I've been there ever since. You know, I'm learning all kinds of things there. You know, we have to memorize scripture once a week. You know, we got to memorize 2, 3, 4 verses sometimes. I actually got to take a test today. You know, so I got to work on them scriptures. I don't know them right now. You know, but it's a blessing while we're there, man. I learned all kind of life skills, work skills. You know, I'm 26 now. I went to prison when I was 18, been out 9 months since then. So there's not much you can learn in prison. I did 8.5 years away. You know, so I'm learning all kind of new ways to live. And, you know, it's crazy. I love Teen Challenge. I love what it did for me. You know, if y'all know anyone who struggles with addiction, please call us. You know, you can get the information from Brother Joshua. You know, and I just want to thank y'all for letting me share.
How's everybody doing today? I'm a little nervous up here. It's only my second time being on a stage. But I'm going to start off by saying addiction is more than just drugs. You can be addicted to anything. Working out, working too much. As individuals, as human beings, we specify it as what drug and what addiction is the worst. But as a follower of Jesus Christ, we should know that anything set before God is an idol. And all idols are a sin. So all addiction is still equal to a sin. It's still equal to a sin, and all sins are the same. And I had to get that out there because it's on my heart that we don't fight just drug addictions. We fight any kind of addiction at Adult Teen Challenge. Well, my name's Ashton. I'm from Mobile, Alabama, and this is the third person up here from Mobile, Alabama. So if you can kind of get the gist, it's not the place to be. I'll put it that way. Yeah. I started off, man, at 13 in the streets, man, just living the life I wanted to, because I never had a father figure in my life. That led me to becoming in the streets and wanting to do bad, getting approved, and getting accepted by anything I can do. I wanted a feeling. I wanted to feel loved. I just felt there was something in my life that I was missing. So that led me to gangbanging at 15 years old. By the time I'm 15, I bring a knife to school and had to do a little time for a youth center. And I'm sitting there and still wondering, man, I'm missing something. So it persuades me to fall into drugs. By the time I'm 15, I am smoking spice, synthetic marijuana. I don't know if y'all know what it is, but by then, I'm hanging out with older people that think it's so funny to get me high and see me do stupid things. I'm 18 and catch me in an assault charge and cover shooting and occupieds. Well, I'll go all the way to 21, and I'm not trying to glorify any of the past, but for you to understand how blessed I am now, you obviously have to know a little bit about my past, a little bit about what the devil's done in my life, so I can tell you how pleased and blessed I am to see what God has done in my life. I do a little bit of time in the county jail, and by the time I'm 21, I met this man right here. Back then I was facing attempted murder and another shooting occupied, and I had nothing really in me. All I wanted to do was hurt. All I wanted to do was get high, and all I knew was to hurt. I didn't know what love was because everybody I thought loved me wasn't there for me in the time I needed them the most. And I was in jail, and he was always telling me, it's not what I wanted, it's not who I really am. And I knew that. I knew deep down in my heart it's not who I really was. It's just something I fell in love with because I didn't know what love was. And I get out then, and I end up catching another charge. I end up going right back to jail, not even being out 3 months. And I'm about to get fully violated, but they allowed me to go to Adult Teen Challenge. When I go to Adult Teen Challenge, I was just took it as an escape route to get out of jail. I didn't want to be in jail any longer, so I 100% took this place as just send me here instead of sending me back to jail or prison. So when I came here, everybody was so welcoming. Everybody was so happy. I'm like, man, how can y'all be happy to be in a rehab? Like what is wrong with y'all? And it made my mind just blown that these people were actually happy to even be worshiping God. I didn't grow up in a church. I heard people talking about God, heard people reading the Bible, but it's not anything that stuck with me. It's nothing that stuck in my heart because, like I was saying, I was gangbanging. I loved guns. I loved drugs. I loved all those things I shouldn't have loved. And whenever I'm sitting in Adult Teen Challenge, first person I see is him. I'm like, Buki? That's his nickname. I'm like, Buki? And he goes, Migo. That's what everybody called me, was Migo. And man, it was actually welcoming, and it made me feel a little bit better to see that someone I knew in a hard time, literally in the same jail cell, was in here trying to better his life as well. And I went to praise and worship. It's just the atmosphere around me was completely different than anything I've ever experienced. Only thing I've ever known was, like I'm saying, was hurt, hate, destruction. When there, I seen everybody loving, I seen everybody praying, I seen everybody happy. And it just couldn't do nothing. And there's a song, Black Sheep, and I ain't gonna sing it to you because I ain't got a good voice, but it's something like you crying tears you hope nobody sees. And at that moment, I just teared up and I couldn't do nothing but cry. And since that day, I had the urge to learn more about the Bible, learn more about God. I eventually started asking everybody on camp, what is this? What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? I was pulling up the Bible. Eventually, Brother Josh right here, he gave me a study Bible. Because when I mean I was on him 24/7, man, why should you fear God if you love God? But it's not fearing God for what you think he's going to do. It's the fear of God to know that you can upset him and that you should be doing better than what you've already done. And October 19th is the first time since I've been 18 that it was my birthday, October 19th. It's the first time since I've been 18 I haven't been in any sort of trouble. Well, I call my mom, and it's on a Sunday. I call my mom, we're going to Sylacauga First Assembly. And by this time, I've been here 2-3 weeks, and I'm still trying to understand the Bible. Well, during the week before, everybody told me, hey man, look, something's on our heart. We just got to tell you, you don't got to fight anymore. Let Jesus fight for you. And right then, 3 different people have told me this within the same week, but not a single one of these people have talked to each other. So that only could be one person. That could only be God telling me that. And I finally allowed myself to go to church with a whole different attitude. But before church, I called my mom and said, hey mom, guess what today is? She goes, what's today? I'm like, you don't know what today is? She forgot it was my birthday, but she didn't forget for a bad reason. She forgot for a good reason. She forgot because the first time in her life, she didn't have to wonder where I was. The first time in her life, she didn't have to wonder about me getting hurt, me getting stabbed, me getting shot. First time in her life, she knew I was onto a path to a whole new beginning of my life. And we go to church, I'm sitting front row. I'm crying. I ain't got nothing in me besides to cry, just pray to God. And Pastor Brian Jones of Sylacauga First Assembly, he stopped in the middle of his sermon and pointed to me and asked me to come to the stage. And that day I was going to get saved, but that day I did not expect to get saved in front of 300 people and have a whole church singing me happy birthday. It was mind-blowing. It's crazy because it's actually on YouTube as well. And to this day, it's just mind-blowing to realize that he called me out. He called me out in front of everybody. And afterwards, I asked him, I said, hey, why did you do that? He said, well, God pointed you out to me. In front of all those people, you had a certain glow. You had a certain brightness to you. And I couldn't do anything but ask you, have you been saved yet? And it was mind-blowing to realize, like, man, I guess God seen my future before I seen it. He's written my story before I even knew I had a story. And on that same note, I've realized what love is. I realized what God can really do for me. I've built friendships with people. I've understand that God himself is not just someone that's going to be there when we need him. He's going to be there for someone we don't need him. He's always on our side. He's sitting there right next to us 24/7. There's always someone I can talk to. If I do not feel like talking or explaining my problems to a certain person, I can just get on my hands and knees and pray. And yeah, I'm young, so I'm impatient. I want that answer right now, right then. But that's the thing is, he's not meant to give you that answer right then and right there. He's meant for you to understand that he has control of your life. And no matter what you do, that your life is in his hands. So just give it all to him. I struggled a lot though, because I always wonder, man, I'm still wanting something. So I did get saved, I still did get baptized, but Jeremiah 29:13 states, if you seek him, you'll find him when you seek him with all your heart. And that's something I wasn't doing. I was still putting things before my life. I was still wondering what was next in my life. I was still trying to figure out what was next for me. When I finally left it all in God's hands, man, doors opened up for me. The future's opened up for me. Jobs and opportunities that I could never imagine have finally opened up in my life. And there's plenty of things I could say about what God has really done for me. But like I'm saying, He showed me the future that I didn't see in myself. He's given me life that I didn't see in myself. He's given me love I didn't see in myself. He's allowed me to help others. Yes, I still need help myself. Yes, I still struggle myself. But ministering to other people also is a ministering to myself, because I can also explain my problems in the point of view that they can see, but it also relieves stress off of me, that seeing, hey, if I can help anybody with a little bit, just help that one person out of 1,000, that's still that one person. It starts with one. And that's all. Thank you.
Good morning, church. Thanks for having us. My name is Jeremy Stark. Like Montre, I'm 40 years old, from Panama City, Florida. I was born and raised in church, both parents in the home, Christian school, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, all the things that come with being a good Christian. I could probably quote 100 Bible verses to you when I was 15, 16. But I had my first drink when I was 17. And I immediately was a full-blown alcoholic at that time. I didn't go anywhere or do anything without having a drink or a lot of drinks. For the next 20 years, I was just in bondage to alcohol and who it made me. I was in and out of jobs, in and out of hospitals, in and out of jails, relationships, everything that the Lord tried to give to me, I would immediately turn over to the enemy and what he allowed him to use it for, what he would want to use it for. I was really just kind of wandering through life. I don't know if anybody here ever felt like they were just wandering through life, but I was chasing something, and I didn't even really know what I was chasing. But when I was 37, I went to a faith-based rehab, and I had finally found, the Lord puts inside of us a pursuit of him, and I had finally found what I was chasing. That was a relationship with Jesus Christ. I fell many times after that. John 3:30 says, he must increase, I must decrease. The problem was I tried to earn back salvation from all those years of mistakes. If anything, I increased and allowed him to decrease. So I would just continue to fall, and that brought me back to Teen Challenge. And I was sitting there listening to the testimonies, and I just noticed up there where it says freedom from addiction. And that's what he was trying to give me all those years, that pursuit of him would lead to that freedom. And I've learned to walk in that freedom. 2 Corinthians 3:17 says, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's freedom. And I've with a bunch of folks that drive me crazy, that I love to death, than I ever did out in the world, with money, with things that you would think would make you happy. And just learning how to walk in that freedom, so when I leave next month, to be able to continue to walk in that freedom and bless other people with that freedom, it means more to me than words can describe. And we're thankful that you guys had us here this morning. Thank you.
Like I said, church, we are thankful for this opportunity, and it's only because of churches like you and people like you that help support us that we are able to continue doing what we do and keep the doors open. In Teen Challenge, and I like to compare it to, in the book of Mark chapter 2, the paralyzed man that's with his friends, and his friends put him on the mat, and they're trying to get through the crowd to get to Jesus, because they know that's where healing is, that's where freedom is. And they can't, so they do whatever it takes. They get him up on the roof, and they dig a hole in the roof and lower him down to Jesus, because that's, like I said, that's where he needs to be. And so that's what Teen Challenge was for me, and I think that all the guys will agree, it's what it is for them, man. Is it's a group of guys that whatever we have to do, in any way that we can help you get to Jesus and experience Jesus, and a lot of that comes from mirroring Jesus in our lives. That's what it is. They say, preach the gospel and use words when you have to. So that's what we're trying to do. We try to just live out the gospel and show people what's available to them. We thank you guys for your time. Pastor, I'm going to turn it back over to you.